solution rise.
Dr. Hans Tendam is a pioneer of past life therapy from the Netherlands. The treatment, also called regression therapy, helps patients to plumb the depths of their past to find cures for a host of ailments of the present.
But because of that, you have to do a lot of work.
The main thing is therapy. You go back to the origin of a problem, and that may be in this life, childhood, maybe in birth, and sometimes it's in a past life. So past life therapist is a regression therapist who accepts experience in past lives and use them to resolve problems. Fears, phobias, depression, psychosomatic problems, whatever.
Akin to hypnotism but vastly differing from its processes, past life therapy gained prominence in the 1960s when it was found to heal numerous diseases that were directly linked to the human mind.
The big 4 reasons why people go into past life therapy are: first, fears and phobias; secondly, depression; third, psychosomatic problems; and 4, relationship problems. And of course, usually when they are unexplainable in this life and when other therapy did not solve their problems.
Despite its efficacy on scores of patients across the globe, the medical community discredits its practices.
The only groups that are near to us and start to accept this are, for example, transpersonal psychologists and people who call themselves integrative psychiatrists. But for the rest, it's simply not accepted, not by academia.
With hundreds of patients enjoying its efficacy, the regression therapists hope that mainstream medical community would accord it recognition in due time. Danny Goodman, Headlines Today.
Well, that was a report from our correspondent Danny Goodman. We have for you another case, another person who claims to remember things from his past life. He claims that he has in fact been reincarnated from his past life. Well, those are a few of his claims. We have that person right now with us on the line live from Chandigarh. Taranjeet joins us now on the line from Chandigarh. Taranjeet, अगर आपको मेरी आवाज़ आ रही है, जानना चाहेंगे कि आप क्या कहते हैं, आपको अपने पिछले जन्म की तमाम बातें याद हैं? कौन सी वो बातें हैं जो आपको याद हैं? तरनजीत, आपको मेरी आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ जी, आ रही है।
तरनजीत, आपको अपने पिछले जन्म से कौन सी वो बातें हैं जो अभी भी याद हैं?
मुझे बहुत कई बातें याद हैं।
जैसे कि
एक्सीडेंट और मौत और
आपका एक्सीडेंट कब हुआ था, कहां पर हुआ था, आपका पिछले जन्म में नाम क्या था, आप कहां रहते थे, पूरी बातें बताएं तरनजीत।
मैं रहता तो चकचेले में था और एक्सीडेंट मेरा निहालवान में हुआ स्कूटर से और मैं साइकिल पे था।
आपकी उम्र क्या थी उतनी उस समय?
मेरा दोस्त था 16 साल।
और ये कितने साल पहले की बात है?
ये 9 सितंबर 1992 में मेरी डेथ हुई थी।
तारीख फिर से बताइए।
9 सितंबर 1997 में मेरी डेथ हुई थी।
1997 में। तरनजीत, आपको ये बातें अचानक याद कैसे? 92 में। चलिए, आपको ये बातें अचानक याद कैसे आई तरनजीत?
जब मैं छोटा होता था तब मेरे याद आने लगी।
कितनी उम्र में आपको याद आने लगी ये बातें?
करीब 1.5-2 साल का था जब मैं।
1.5-2 साल।
हाँ जी।
सही तरनजीत, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया हमसे बातचीत करने के लिए। Sanal, I'm joined now in the studio by another very special guest. Sanal Edamaruku joins us now on the panel. Of course, he's from the Indian Rationalist Association. Dr. Hans Tendam is still with us in the studio. Dr. Tendam, for your benefit, what Taranjeet, this boy from Chandigarh was essentially saying was that in 1992, he remembers that in 1992, on the 9th of September, he mentions the exact date, he had an accident. He was apparently 16 years old at the time. He had a road accident.
How old?
16 years old at the
16.
time when he says he had this accident. And he was 16 years old at the time. He had a road accident. He remembers his name clearly. He remembers the village where he was staying. This is in the state of Punjab. And, well, now he is about a 14-year-old boy. So these are the incidents that he is recounting. And he says he remembered this when he was about 1.5 years old. Now, these are the claims of Taranjeet. I'll first throw it open to you. I know Sanal Edamaruku is smiling. He has a lot to say. But would you say this is an example of a rebirth, a reincarnation, whatever term you would like to use?
I can't say that on the few things I hear. The only thing I can say that it is completely within the normal pattern. There's nothing in the case that's special or remarkable or conflicting with all the other cases that have been researched. So I don't see any reason not to believe this boy.
Which would those factors be, which if you were to see, would lead you to believe that in fact the person is not lying or not making it up, and that in fact it is a case of rebirth / reincarnation? Those classic factors.
The classic factor, for example, is that the previous life has been cut off at a young age, that the death was pretty rapidly, that the death was not too far off from the present birth, that there are a few years in between 1 and 4, 1 and 5. All that is the normal pattern.
Normal pattern. Sanal Edamaruku.
First of all, the whole concept of regression therapy is baseless. You know, it has 3 basic presumptions. Number 1, there is rebirth. Number 2, that hypnosis takes you back to a previous life. It does not actually take you back anywhere. You are conditioned to understand something, you are asked to believe something, and your hypersuggestibility simply goes up. Basic ignorance about hypnosis and basic ignorance about, human life is the basis for any kind of claims about regression therapy, number 1. Number 2, regression therapy is a kind of occult which is prevalent, very popular, amongst the new age groups. And it has no scientific basis. And all these people who are speaking about regression therapy has simply been propagandists for this kind of things.
Dr. Hans Tendam is a propagandist.
I'm absolutely sure, because I have glanced through his book. He's practicing tarot, a scientist. He's practicing occult. It says in the first page, he's a scientist. And he says, definitely, he knows about reincarnation. And is that the language of a scientist?
Why is reincarnation something that's so difficult to believe as being actually true and existent? As Dr. Tendam says, it does exist.
See, there are 2-3 things are to be understood. Reincarnation, the claims of reincarnation that we have now, has the basis of some...
I didn't understand you. The claims were?
The claims of reincarnation that are reported in our country at different places. For example, I've been seeing the first part of the story about Rajesh, about Kalpana Chawla's reincarnation. These 2 specific cases, I have been personally involved. So many hours in front of television cameras, for example, with Rajesh. Rajesh never claimed to be a reincarnation. Rajesh never claimed that he has been of anybody. And it has been so clearly told in front of television cameras how he got the idea. He has been studying in an American school for the last 2 years in Jefferson, Clinton.
Are you trying to say that knowledge about public figures is so common, is so public,
exactly.
Anybody who
and
sits
also,
down and actually mugs it up can actually...
Not only that, not only public figures. For example, in your locality, in your neighborhood, there could be some known accidents, incidents, or some kind of things. About which informations are carried in bits and other pieces to you. And when there is a hyper-believing atmosphere, you are reinforcing this belief in a believing atmosphere. All cases, Kalpana Chawla's reincarnation, every fact was denied. Rajesh case, every fact has been incorrect. And he has not been speaking American, there was no science in that.
All right, you had your say. I'm sure Dr. Tendam wants to say something to that, wants to respond to that. We will give him a chance, but we will give that chance to him after this short break. And we'll try and really end this debate on a different note, maybe it's on a point that's very different from both of them, on a neutral point. We'll try and do that after the break. What's that neutral point? We'll tell you after the break.